Thank you for subscribing to our channel. Today is Monday, February 1, 2021. Deutsche Welle report. Angela Merkel, COVID vaccines could be necessary for years. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has said coronavirus vaccines may be needed for many years to come. It's similar to the flu vaccine, where you re-vaccinate against the new mutation of the virus every time, Merkel said in Berlin after a top-level meeting on Germany's vaccination campaign on Monday. Merkel added that her government had received the assurances it needed to renew a promise to offer all Germans a coronavirus vaccination by the end of the summer.
CNN report. Barcelona denies responsibility for leak after report reveals Lionel Messi's record $672 million contract. Barcelona says it categorically denies responsibility for the publication of Lionel Messi's $672 million contract, which was reported by Spanish newspaper El Mundo. The contract would make Messi the highest-paid athlete in sports history. The club also said it will take legal action against the newspaper for any damage that may be caused as a result of this publication. According to the report, Messi's contract, which was signed in November 2017 and runs until June 30 this year, could have seen the star forward earn $167 million a season including bonuses.
Fox report. International community condemns Burma military coup, supporters celebrate in the streets. Burma is grappling with a military coup on the day that the new parliamentary session was set to begin, with many in the international community denouncing the power grab as a threat to the strained progress made over the past 10 years. The Burmese military arrested democratically elected state councillor Aung San Suu Kyi and other officials, announcing on the military-owned Mayawati TV that the military would assume control for 1 year.
Fox report. SoulCycle instructor sorry for calling herself an educator to get COVID vaccine. The SoulCycle instructor to the stars who justified her receiving a coronavirus vaccine by characterizing herself as an educator, apologized for the move in a Monday Instagram post. Stacey Griffith, 52, offered the social media mea culpa after taking flack from Instagram users, as well as Mayor Bill de Blasio. I want to apologize from the bottom of my heart for my recent action in receiving the vaccine, Griffith wrote in the post.
Deutsche Welle report. India unveils budget to boost coronavirus hit economy. India on Monday announced plans to double health care spending in its 2021-22 budget. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman told Parliament the government was allocating 2.2 trillion rupees $30.2 billion, 25.3 billion euros to the health care system. That represents an increase of 137%. India is set for its worst ever recession in the current financial year ending March 31. The economy is projected to shrink by 7%.
CNN report. Toyota overtakes Volkswagen as world's biggest automaker. Toyota is back on top. The Japanese company has reclaimed its place as the world's best-selling automaker, with its latest results showing an edge over Volkswagen Group (VLKAF). Toyota (TM) sold 9.5 million vehicles around the world in 2020, according to figures released on Thursday that include its Daihatsu and Hino lineups. That's compared with the 9.3 million units delivered last year by Volkswagen, which owns brands including Audi, Škoda and Porsche.
CNN report. Putin dismissed Navalny for years, but outrage over his jailing is now a big problem for the Kremlin. For years, the Kremlin has publicly dismissed Alexei Navalny as an irrelevant blogger with little popular support. But the geographical spread of mass protests over 2 weekends in support of Navalny, with thousands turning out in dozens of cities across Russia, underlines how much of a challenge he and his anti-corruption message have now become for the Kremlin. A recent exposé on an extravagant secret palace on Russia's Black Sea coast, which an investigation by Navalny's Anti-Corruption Foundation (FBK) said had been built for President Vladimir Putin, has more than 105 million views on YouTube, and helped fuel public outrage at what the FBK describes as official excess.
Fox report. Cuomo renews call for NYPD federal monitor, challenges mayoral candidates on police reform. New York Gov. Andrew Cuomo on Sunday raised the possibility that a federal monitor could be put on the New York Police Department, NYPD, as well as challenged candidates vying for Mayor Bill de Blasio's position during the election later this year to speak out on their proposals for police reform. the State Attorney General Letitia James filed a lawsuit earlier last month against the NYPD and its leadership over the treatment protesters against racial injustice following the death of George Floyd.
Al Jazeera report. Rising tension as Ethiopia and Sudan deadlocked on border dispute. Age-old territorial claims are threatening to embroil Ethiopia and Sudan into armed conflict, as bickering over disputed strips of farmland in recent weeks has boiled over into the most serious escalation of border tensions in years. The uptick in skirmishes initially involving militias from the two countries saw the neighbors' national armies intervene, and by mid-December, both countries had massed soldiers along the frontier in the Al-Fashaga region.
BBC report. Rhino poaching in South Africa falls during COVID-19 lockdown. Last year, 394 rhinos were killed for their horns in the country, a fall of 33% from the 594 recorded in 2019, the Environment Ministry said. Lockdowns had restricted the movements of would-be poachers and rhino horn smugglers, it added. It is the sixth year that recorded incidents in the country have fallen. But conservationists warn that the rhino population in South Africa has plummeted in recent years and that poaching remains a big problem.
BBC report. So on. K-pop star apologizes over Nazi mannequin image. The photos show So-on, a member of G-Friend, cuddling the mannequin, and were taken in a cafe last November while the group were filming a video. They have since been deleted from her Instagram. Her management said she felt a profound sense of responsibility over posting the images. Many people took to social media to call for the star to apologize. The company also apologized for the presence of the Nazi clothing and said the staff member in charge did not recognize there was an issue with the mannequin's attire during an on-site inspection on the day of filming.
Al Jazeera report. Iran completes satellite-carrying rocket test launch. Tehran, Iran. Iran has completed the test launch of a satellite-carrying rocket below orbit, the Ministry of Defense and Armed Forces Logistics said. State television aired footage of the rocket being fired in daylight on Monday in a desert area, but it is unclear exactly when or where the launch took place. For the first time in the country's space field, the first research launch of the hybrid Zuliana satellite carrier was conducted with the aim of below-orbit testing through achieving the technology for the most powerful solid fuel engine in the country, said Ahmad Hosseini, the spokesman for the Defense Ministry's Space Division.
Deutsche Welle report. Israel and Kosovo establish diplomatic ties. Kosovo and Israel formally established diplomatic relations on Monday. The U.S. brokered agreement requires Kosovo to set up an embassy in Jerusalem. Kosovo Foreign Minister Milica Haradinaj and Israeli Foreign Minister Gabriel Ashkenazi celebrated the deal in a virtual ceremony, with both leaders signing documents in their respective countries. Today we are making history. We are establishing diplomatic relations between Israel and Kosovo, Ashkenazi said.
CNN report. How to figure out where all your money is going. When it comes to managing your finances, you need to know where your money is going. That means making a budget. No one loves hearing the dreaded B word, but keeping a running tab of your daily expenses in your head probably isn't cutting it. People think they are spending less than they actually are, said Madison Sherrick, manager of financial planning at PNC Investments. Taking an ad hoc approach to budgeting can leave you in the hole at the end of the month, shortchanging your savings and pushing you into debt.
Fox report. Captain Tom, 100-year-old veteran who raised millions for COVID relief, hospitalized with virus. Tom Moore, the 100-year-old British World War II veteran who captivated the nation by raising more than $40 million toward COVID-19 relief last year, was admitted to the hospital on Sunday with the virus. Hannah Ingram-Moore, his daughter, announced in a statement that her father, known as Captain Tom, was taken to Bedford Hospital in the UK. He was having trouble breathing. She said he has been treated for pneumonia over the past few weeks and tested positive for COVID-19 last week.
BBC report. Young men accuse Lincoln Project co-founder of harassment. At least one man was underage when Mr. Weaver allegedly first made contact. In a statement, the Republican group labeled the 61-year-old a predator, a liar and an abuser. Without admitting specifics, Mr. Weaver apologized for the pain he caused by living a deeply closeted life. Mr. Weaver worked on 4 Republican presidential campaigns before creating the Lincoln Project with other, never Trump, Republicans.
Al Jazeera report. Biden faces tough road in push to reform U.S. immigration. Experts. Washington, D.C. U.S. President Joe Biden is expected to issue a raft of new immigration orders in the coming days that will reverse policies championed by his predecessor, Donald Trump, including on asylum at the United States-Mexico border and the reunification of migrant families. Biden took office last month after winning the backing of progressives and immigrant communities through a promise, among others, to chip away at Trump's hardline stance against immigration.
Thank you for watching 5 p.m. recap. To be notified, you can subscribe our channel and activate the bell.